Hello everybody, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I just wanted to do a short video about grafts on various hardy and tropical fruit trees, and keeping an eye on the grafts and the branches that come out near them, and maintenance. Now hopefully you'll be able to hear me okay, because the children are having fun playing next door, and they'll be a bit loud at times. But I just wanted to look at some of the different grafts on my trees and what to look out for them and things that might cause you problems. Now, this is one of my persimmons. This is a Hanafuyu. Now, I think they call these, I think these sort of grafts are probably bud or chip grafts. Now, the interesting thing about this one is this has got a shoot coming out right above where the graft is made. Now this is definitely from the grafted section, and a lot of people would if they were growing a tree in their garden, would probably want to remove that and have that shoot gone. But for me it doesn't make any difference, because I'm quite happy to have, I really want my persimmons and other trees to branch as low as possible, because they're all being grown in containers. So that's not a problem to me. But if at a later stage it looked like it was going to weaken the graft in any way, then I could consider moving it. So if we have a look at some of the other grafted trees I've got here. This one is on my Illinois ever-bearing mulberry. See if I could just manage to hold it one-handed. You can see the grafted section there, and again I've got branches coming out nice and low. That suits me fine, because I want the trees to branch out as low as possible. And the same goes for my Moldovan pink. You can see the section of graft there, and this branch here is really literally coming out from just above where the graft was made. But it's definitely the grafted variety, because you can see the mulberries forming it. It's not from a rootstock. Now, the sort of things you need to be looking out for when you look at grafted plants is something like this here. Now, this is one of my Chinese dates, or jujubes, and this one is a lang. Now this is different. This is not a sucker coming from below the graft. These are actually shoots coming up. These are suckers coming up from the roots. Now normally you would remove these, but what I've decided to do for the time being is leave these, because they're not particularly weakening the plant at all, and I've made the decision to leave these until next winter. Now I'm going to repot the plant in winter, because by then it'll need to go into a bigger pot, and at that time I'm going to cut off these root suckers, because these will be coming from the seedling rootstock. I'm going to grow them on. I mean, they're going to serve two purposes. I mean, you never know from a rootstock if you're going to get a poor quality fruit or a good quality fruit. It may turn out to be a good quality fruit, but more to the point, this will give me another variety. This has got, being as it's from the rootstock, it's got more, seems to have more thorns on it than the actual named variety, but that's not really a problem. That doesn't concern me at all. What interests me is if I can grow this to flowering size, it will give me another genetic strain of flowers to help cross-pollinate the others, because at the moment, even though I've got two varieties, I'm getting no cross-pollination on the flowers and no fruit set. So this will serve two purposes. I can let it flower and one day fruit, and if the fruits are absolutely useless, you can always use it as a rootstock to graft another plant on. So I'm going to let that grow, as it could prove useful in the future. Now if we look at one of my persimmons here, now this on the other hand, this persimmon here is my Zukis, and you can probably see these small little buds coming out from below the graft here. So I'm going to rub these off. Now also I've got this shoot here which is coming out from below the ground. Now this one I'm not going to leave because this is not going to have roots on it. I'll have to cut this off, and this will take, this is probably either a lotus rootstock or a Virginiana rootstock, and this is going to take nutrients from the main tree, because this isn't a particularly strong tree. This one, I didn't think it was going to leaf out this year, but it has. So the last thing I want to do is draw any strength out of it. So this is going to have to go. I may cut it off today when I finish the video. We'll have to see. But all of these persimmons are grafted plants. You can see here's the graft here on this one. The one behind's got a much lower graft, it's down there, but nevertheless it's still above soil level. So on this one here, this one I'm going to be removing the graft. It's not the same as a root sucker. Now if I just carry on over here, I'm just going to quickly take the opportunity to show different types of grafts on the trees. Now this is my mango keat. Now this has been grafted very high up. I think it's probably a cleft graft. Graft is really messy and hasn't looked very good. Now normally all these shoots, which down here are coming from the rootstock, which I forget what the variety is. It's one of the Canarian mangoes. It's their own rootstock they use. But I'm going to leave, I've decided to leave these shoots on because this plant has got obviously a pretty weak root system, and the top growth hasn't been doing particularly well. So I've decided to leave these shoots for the time being, because I'm hoping that they will encourage strengthening of the root system, and then at a later stage, once I'm happy that the plant's growing strongly and the roots have gained full strength, I'll take these side shoots off so that the vigour of the roots goes back into the main plant. But I really feel that I need to try and get the roots to a better standard, because as you can see the top plants are not particularly good. And just one final one I'm going to show you, because this shows how different nurseries do different grafting. This is my canistel or eggplant, and the graft is right up here, at least 2 feet above ground. There's like another cleft or V graft here, and what's interesting is you can see a bud shoot coming out which is above the graft. You can see there's the different colour of the grafted variety there, and there's a bud coming out, so I'm going to leave that to grow, because that should give me a third branch coming in this direction as opposed to these two coming here. And you can see I've got quite a few side shoots now coming out, I'm pleased to say, on my canistel, so it should form quite a nice looking plant. But that's just some idea of the variations in graft on some of the grafted ones, and you just need to keep an eye on them and make sure that if you get any unwanted side shoots, if I had a side shoot coming from down here for example, I'd remove it, because that would be from the seedling rootstock. But I'll leave this one as it should form a nice shoot. But in some cases I'm leaving the shoots on to obviously trying to, as in the case of this mango, I'm trying to get a bit more strength into the root system and get them a bit more developed. So I'm hoping these lower leaves and shoots will kind of build up the root system. I want to find one to show you is citrus. This is my grapefruit, of course, and you can see this is where the graft was made here, about 6 inches above ground, and this is all grapefruit here. So I haven't had any suckers come up on this one since I've had it, which is at least 2 years, maybe a bit longer now, so I haven't had a worry. But the key is always to try and remember to remove any shoots that come from below the graft, because they're going to be from the rootstock, which could be almost anything. But no problem yet. Anyway, thanks for watching everybody. That was just a quick talk about maintaining your grafted plants and just removing, in most cases, removing side shoots and suckers that are below the graft. But in the case of a couple of the root suckers that have come up on the Lee, as they'll have their own roots, I'll keep them, and when I repot it I'll make use of them for the future. So thanks everybody for watching. Much appreciated if you'd give me a thumbs up on the video, and obviously share it with anyone you think might be interested. Please subscribe to my channel, and as always, if you remember to click on the bell, you'll get notifications of future videos as I make them. I'll catch up with you all soon.